All right, hello everybody. This is just another spontaneous kind of impromptu live stream. I'm going to show off this work that I've been doing. I just premiered a video a couple of hours ago of an earlier stage of this, and I want to kind of show my progress. Let me see if I can put a link in the chat to the previous video I did, which I may talk some about. Um, Let me throw that in the chat. All right. I'm just going to kind of do this. Feel free to type something in the chat room. There's probably about a 20 or 30-second delay, so bear with me. And I'll be happy to answer any questions anybody has and talk about what exactly I'm going to do. Basically, I'm going to show off. This is a 1979 Bally Paragon pinball machine, obviously. And if you can hear me and all that, type something into the chat room. Just let me know. Everything sounds good, audio, video. Um, this is a 1979 Bally Paragon solid state pinball machine that I have reprogrammed and set it up so that it is running off of custom code. And I'm just going to show that this can be done. And just give me 1 second, and I'll fire everything up. All right. Man, it's really a beautiful day outside, so I'm not going to spend too much time on this. But I did want to kind of do something and show off the progress that I've made, because I've been talking about wanting to hack one of these games for a long time, and I really feel like finally I've gotten to a point where I can show off that it's actually been done. So what we have here is obviously a game. You'll see a laptop computer here. There's a little wire coming out of it. That is a USB interface that's hooked into an Arduino that is plugged into the MPU board J5 on a Bally MPU board in there. I don't think there's an Altec, but it would work with an Altec as well. And the particular board that's in there is a custom hand-wired board. And I think I showed it off in the video that I dropped a link into. So what I'm going to do is I am going to, well, maybe I should show off the base game first. Let me do that. So let's unplug that, and let's turn the game off. Let me run around here. And there's a little switch on the inside where I can flip it, and the original game will boot up. So let's boot to the original game, and I'll play a ball of that, and I'll show you what's really cool about this. Okay, so now we're going to start this thing back up. The computer is not connected to it. So we've got sound and lights and everything, and you can see it's got a nice little attract mode happening. And hey everybody, hey Dave. The hardware. Let me show you what the hardware looks like. Just give me a second. So there's basically two pieces to the hardware. There's this right here. This is a daughter board with an Arduino Nano right there. And this is a little Arduino Nano. This plugs on to a jack in the back of the thing, and this is what's programmed via the computer there. And then this is the sound card that we're using. This is a wave trigger. You can get this from SparkFun, and you can put sounds on this micro SD card. So right now I'm going to demo the base game. This is the original game running the original code, booting off of the motherboard naturally. So you can see, let's start a game. Starts off with Golden Cliffs at 2,000. The Paragon cycles up there. Starts off with 1,000 bonus. Let's play a quick ball. And let's see. You'll notice that let's see, here's our drop targets. So these 80s era Bally's had that kind of electronic, bleep and bloop sounds. Even though it's like a Dungeons and Dragons fantasy themed game. This was before they had synthesized speech and all of that. So basically, what you got is, ding, that kind of stuff. So that's basically what the game does. So this is the original game. And the rule set's basically spell Paragon, light special, knock these drop targets down. This increments. See, it'll increment over to 15,000. It also increments the rollover value here. You knock 2 of these down, you get bonus. Second one lights double bonus. Third one lights triple bonus. And then if you get in there, it's your 5x bonus. Golden Cliffs. Every time you go through Golden Cliffs, it increases the value of Golden Cliffs by 2,000, so it's 4,000 now if I get it in there. Right? And so that's basically the rule set. Every 5 spins adds another bonus, and then when the ball drains, counts down the bonus. Right. So this is the basic game. This is exactly the way it works. Now we're going to turn it off, and we're going to boot to the Arduino. So let me do that. Turn the game off. Got to pull this thing back. I could probably make the switch a little bit more accessible once the game is finished, but I just have a little switch in there right now. All right, and I'm going to plug the computer in. Don't have to. This can boot without the computer because the code's already been downloaded. But I'll hook up the computer so I can demo how I update the code. And all right, and thanks everybody for watching. Yeah, type something in the chat room, say hi. Okay, so now looks like the game's booted up. You'll notice there's no attract mode because I haven't programmed the attract mode. There is some basic stuff going on the display. It shows high score. I don't have the high score saving to the BIOS routine coded yet, so that's yet to be done. But I do have most of the rule set already done, and I'm going to also demo some extra features that are currently available in this. So my goal initially is to interface the Arduino and then emulate the rule set for the game and start with the base as that, and then from there add extra features and make it more elaborate. The Paragon is a really highly regarded game off the bat. So if I was going to enhance it, I really don't want to do too many major changes because I think, unlike a lot of other Bally games from this era, this one is really well balanced and it's fun to play and it's often used in competition and it's highly regarded. So I'm not going to fundamentally change the way it plays, but I've got some ideas for some extra things that we can add to it. Most significantly, changing the sound. So instead of having bleeps and bloops and dee-dee-dee, we're going to actually have CD quality stereo sound, and it's going to be consistent with this fantasy Dungeons and Dragons theme. You know, we'll have the maiden's voice and the warrior and the griffin, the beast is what it's called. So I've slowly been recording sound effects. I'm going to try to do as much as I can myself, not use any sound effects that are commonly available elsewhere, so it'll be a totally original sound package. Obviously, I may borrow some music. I don't know if I'll use something symphonic or I'll use something modern or a combination of both. We'll see. But the sound card that we're going to be using, this thing can do 14 tracks simultaneously. It can also support 2,000 different files. So it's really good quality, polyphonic. This is going to be a fun thing to play around with. We'll really be able to create sound that is probably higher quality than any other pinball machine out there. I don't even know if Jersey Jack is doing, 14 channel audio. So this is probably pretty sophisticated. So let me show off the game. So right off the bat, I'll start a game, and you'll see some slight differences between this game and the original. When I start, it's going to go into a skill shot. There's not a skill shot on the original game. It just starts. And I'm not 100% sure what the skill shot is completely going to be, but I've got something coded, and this is kind of what I've come up with initially, is I'm going to cycle between the 20,000 Golden Cliffs and the special. And it'll blink for a little bit and then blink for a little bit. And if you get the ball in there, you'll get awarded either 20,000 or a special. Now, is that too easy? I don't know, because here's the catch. If you hit any switch, it ends the attract mode, including either of those two star rollovers. So to try to get a ball to come out of here and drop into this, now this is not a switch and this is not a switch, so it could hit this bumper, but it can't hit this one because there's a switch in that. So if it hits this star or this star, it will not award you it will negate, turn off the skill shot. So basically you got to plunge it right into this hole at the right time. It's going to be lit just for, I think, and 400 milliseconds. So that's 4/10 of a second, less than half a second. You've got to time it. And then the same thing with this 20 will light. So let's turn it on. And also you're going to see one other thing. I actually coded my first light sequence. So these are the 1 through 10 bonus lights right here. And normally during gameplay, you start off with 1,000 and just one is lit. I thought, I'm going to play around with this. So during the skill shot, these are all going to blink randomly. Just as an interesting effect, I was playing around with it to see how it would work. So let's give it a try. So I'll start it. You'll see it. The skill shot will time out automatically after 30 seconds if nothing is done. And otherwise, it'll wait until you hit a switch. So let's see. So you see there's our interesting little light effect here. We still have, and see, this 20 lights goes out. Then the special lights, and that's it. So you got to kind of time that. 20, special. 20, special. So, oh! Didn't get it, but you got an idea of what was happening there. That's pretty cool, huh? So it is possible to short plunge it, hit off of this, and bounce right into it. That was but to be able to time that with the special, I think that's going to be quite a challenging skill shot. Or you can get 20,000. So this is in addition to the normal awards, where if the ball falls in, it'll light one of the letters, or if it falls in here, you'll get 2,000, and then it bumps up to 4,000. So there's no sounds right now. I just wanted to get the rule set going, but I'm going to show you here that we have the complete scoring and rule set for Paragon. As far as I know, it is the gameplay is identical. The scoring for every target. If I've got anything off, let me know. But I pretty much tore the whole game open and tried every switch and saw how things work and what conditions make the score ladders go up and everything. So I'm starting off right away with a complete regular Paragon with this added skill shot, and there's also a ball save. So let me show you. So you see it lights the letters just like you would expect. Lights the R. And of course, all this coding has to be done manually. Every single little thing I had to keep track of. I'm not using any of the original Bally code. Obviously, there will be sound, and it'll be really much cooler sound than what you would expect. And the spinner works the same way. See, one spin, another spin, and it's at 6,000 bonus. When we complete this, it should go up to 7. See, it goes up to 7. So that's all working. This also advances a bonus, and then the ball drains, and it counts the bonus down, just like it would. And, all right, so here's our skill shot again. You can see 20, special. Oh, see, it hit the star rollover, so it's not counted. I'm actually kind of liking that special. Now you see the shoot again light is lit. If the ball drains, you get the ball back. There's a ball save now built into this, and you can set the ball save for a certain number of seconds, plus or minus. So you can set it. I think it defaults to a 15-second ball save, or maybe less. I don't know. I have to look at the code. But so now this game also has a ball save. So that's one of the added features that you can see in it. And, see, I have to program all the timing into everything too. So now here's our last ball. There's our skill shot again. This is all random, so every time it does it, it's going to be a slightly different kind of interesting pattern. This is I think it's 200 milliseconds plus a random amount of 300 milliseconds. Boy, yeah, I want to see somebody hit that intentionally. That skill shot's going to be hard, I think. Now, obviously, there's still stuff that needs to be done. These lights are flaky. This is just a loose. These things are loose. I need to fix those. Those are normally just always on. Oh, let me show you what happens when you spell Paragon, right? So let's see if we can get the G. There's a G, and let's see if we can get the N. Oops, missed it. Oop. Okay. And I haven't checked, but I'm pretty sure that's the light sequence. Once you spell Paragon, it lights everything and it blinks it, and the special is lit there. And then if you get the ball in there, you get a special. Watch. Bam. And you're back starting over. So I've got all that coded. The score thing here works too. Let me. You knock them down, goes to 15,000. Now look at the score. It says 60,000 points, right? So if we knock this down, it's going to give us 500 per, right? So 6113, so it'll be 500 would be 61,810 plus 15,000. So there's our extra 15,000. Now this thing is worth 20,000, right? But let me show you. This is another feature that I've programmed into this. If you hit these drop targets in a particular sequence, from bottom, middle, and top, it will double this score. So if you hit it out of sequence, you won't. But if you go bottom, middle, so when I hit this top one, instead of getting an extra 20,000, I'm going to get an extra 40. Bam. So that's a little hidden feature that I thought would be kind of cool to put in it. And obviously, you drop these down enough, it keeps advancing this. This will give you a special if you go in there too. Here we go. And then I believe in the game, once the special's lit, it just sits on the 10,000 and won't award you another special. So that's basically the rule set for Paragon. I've now got it completely coded, and the next step is to add a few more features, check to make sure multiplayer is working okay, because just because you get it working for player one doesn't mean when you run two-player game you're not going to run into problems. Like, I'm pretty certain there may be a glitch where it doesn't remember certain player settings from ball to ball. I just have to pour through the code and fix it, because every little thing has to be done. This is not like a PROC system where you're programming in Python and you probably have all these high-level object libraries that you can use. This is very low-level stuff. This is being programmed in C and C++ using the Arduino IDE, and everything is constantly running and looping, and we're keeping track of the millisecond count to be able to time everything that's going on. And so it's pretty fun. It will make your brain melt a little bit when you get into the programming, trying to do some of this stuff. When I was younger, I probably was much faster and more productive than I am now. But I'm happy. I spent literally a couple of weeks just poring over existing sample code, trying to understand how everything works. And then now I'm diving in, and my goal is to create a base using the standard Bally model where it's bonus and bonus multipliers, and then I'll have something that I can use to work on other games. So I think a good bit of the hard part is done. The rule set is in there now. We're going to start adding sound. We're going to start adding some extra features. If you guys have any ideas for ways in which this game could be spruced up, let me know. Leave some notes in the comments, especially on the YouTube video, and I'll take that into account. I'm open to other ideas. As far as the Raspberry Pi, did I consider the Raspberry Pi Pico? I think this is just the beginning. I think there's going to be other interfaces. This was a proof of concept that a guy up in Maine, Dick Hamill, did. And so he wanted to kind of see what kind of minimalist setup could actually take control of the pinball machine. And that's why we're using this Arduino Nano here. And now they have boards that you can get that are in kit form. When I built one, I just took the schematics and I hand wired one. So the one in the machine there actually is hand wired. It's not using a printed circuit board. But you can get these. This is about. So once these games are finished, I imagine that the code will be freely available for most of these projects. So if I get this thing done, I'll be happy to put together some kits and sell them if anybody wants them. I did the first one for Trident too. That was one of the first. How many GPIOs on the Nano? I think it's like 20 something. It's quite a large number. I think there's like 1 or 2 free on here. I think there's about 23. So it is enough to control the control chips in there, and then the sound. So there's going to be this right here, and there's going to be a serial interface coming off of this right here that is going to communicate with the wave trigger via serial. Now this thing can also control the soundboards, and there's a small group of us that are developing this, and little by little, this was initially conceived on the for the Stern games. There's a Stern Meteor recoding, there's a Stern Trident recoding, and there's a couple of other. Somebody's working on Flash Gordon. I'm obviously working on Paragon, and I think we'll have a lot of fun. We'll redo a whole bunch of these games. I have every intention of retheming quite a number of games, including Spectrum, which is one I really want to do because the rule set's messed up on that. I'll redo Kings of Steel. I'll redo Silverball Mania. We're working on Matahari also. So there's a revised version of Matahari that's in development. So there's going to be a bunch more of them, and the price to get the hardware is going to be really cheap. For less than $100, you can have the whole shebang. So it's pretty neat. So that's kind of where it is, and here's the machine. And if I wanted to change any of the code, I can go over here and scroll down through the code. And I know you can't see on that small screen, but I'm probably going to do some videos where I actually focus on just working on the computer and show the code. I could probably walk through the code and explain what it's doing now, which would probably be helpful. But a lot of people may just want to be able to take advantage of the new rule sets and aren't interested in doing any coding. And I understand that because it's quite a beast trying to do this coding. Yeah, so we're just talking today on the development team about the possibility of using additional processors, because one of the problems with this Nano is there's not a ton of program space on here. I've got this thing completely coded with the Paragon rule set, but it has no sound, it has no light shows, and I'm using 72% of the program memory. So I'm going to have to add all the remaining features in that just 28% of RAM left. Now there are other Arduinos out there that have a lot more program space, and so we just have to find one that's got the right GPIO pins in the program space, and we could make this thing even more elaborate. So initially, the work on this has been not only just coding these machines, but also making the code as tight and small and as optimized as possible, because every little byte counts when you've got a limited amount of space. So we're actually doing this really old school. You know, you could probably get a P-Rock and connect into this and program it in Python, and it would be luxurious. You know, you wouldn't even be thinking about timing or program speed or available RAM or anything. But in this case, this is kind of just a little bit of a glimpse of like what the future is. As far as booting, this Nano boots faster than the original machine too. It's pretty cool. Let me show you. I'll just I'll unplug the MPU. I'll turn the game off. Right now, the original game, it takes about 20 seconds for it to boot up. It flashes 8 times on the MPU board. But with the Arduino, watch how fast it comes up. Bam. That's it. That's probably at least half the time that it booted off of ROM, the old Bally one. Of course, it's not necessarily doing any self-checks or anything like that. And of course, when you're programming this kind of stuff, we're directly controlling hardware that can catch fire and blow fuses and stuff. And I've blown 2 fuses working on the system, mainly when I had a ball in play, and then I also sent some code to update the CPU. And when you update the CPU, and it freezes it, and if there's a coil firing at the moment that it freezes, it locks on. So that's a fun way to blow in some money on some fuses. But now I've got a little fuse breaker down on the playfield. So this Pico, I've heard about it and I'm very interested. Well, obviously there'll have to be a slightly different board done for it, but imagine a system like this that also has internet connectivity and possibly could stream video. That would be cool. It's possible even with this little Nano to communicate serially with another Raspberry Pi. So you could have displays built into the game that gave status and updates and things like that. It would not be very difficult to create some kind of a system where you could put up little slides showing game modes and stuff like that. So there you have it. This is just a early proof of concept, but complete success with running a Paragon completely on an Arduino now with the original game code and a few extra little things. Hopefully next time I do a video, I will be showing off some of the sound, and I'm hoping that's going to be really, really cool. I'm kind of psyched about it. So, and I want to thank everybody for tuning in and helping to support, what we're doing here. And thanks to everybody else who's contributed to the project. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my YouTube channel, YouTube/PinballHelp, or visit the website pinballhelp.com. There's a subreddit, reddit/r/pinballhelp. There's also I've got an Instagram at PinballHelp, and there's a Twitter at PinballHelp too. And I guess I'll just leave it at that. But this is pretty exciting. Bally made thousands and thousands of these early solid state games, and a lot of people really love them. The artwork is amazing. Um, Back then, they didn't have some of the technology they have now, so to be able to add new sound to this is going to be really cool. Oh, another thing, I've LED'd out my games. I don't know if any of the other developers are really big on LEDs, so I'm the first guy that's actually coding, taking into account using LEDs instead of bulbs, which is a completely different dynamic when you're trying to do blinking and stuff like that. With incandescence, you can get away with certain ways you control the lights that would make LEDs look bad. So I'm working on code that is specifically works best with LEDs, which means I cannot do some of the effects like fading in and out. I don't know if we really can do that with LEDs very effectively, at least the ones that we have, because they're anti-ghosting LEDs, so they probably can't be faded like a bulb. But I'm a big fan of using these because they run a lot cooler and they look brighter and they last longer and more reliable. So stay tuned for more. This is going to continue to evolve, and I want to thank everybody for tuning in. And I'm gonna run off, and yeah, I'm going to learn more about some of there's some new technologies we're going to talk about, possibly you know, using some more powerful processors. But so far so good. So when the next time I do an update, hopefully I'll be showing off sound, and I'll be showing off some of the light effects. And if you want to know a little bit more about what I had to go through when I was initially programming, there's a link in the chat room that I dropped at the beginning on my channel, YouTube/Pinball Help, where I talk about just in general the philosophy that you have when you're trying to rewrite these games, and how you have to keep track of every single little thing. It's quite challenging and fun. Anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I'll check back soon.